Hello and good evening, good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in this wonderful world. Let's just make sure the sound is working properly. Lovely to see everybody here, and welcome to Posipix, the photography competition with a big heart. You win cash prizes, and 25% of your entry fees go to support the Legacy of War Foundation and help people rebuild their lives following the traumas of war. Posipix is brought to you by clickersnap.com and by me, Mike Browne. I'm an internationally recognised photography trainer. There are links in the description area below if you'd like to find out more about either Clickersnap or myself, or join in the next September Posipix competition, which is now open. So great to see some old faces and some new faces, some names appearing in the chat here. That's really great. Welcome to all of you. One or two regulars that I know well, and one or two who I have never met before, which is completely awesome. Competitions are split into two levels, student and experienced, and we do check the experience level social media profiles just to make sure no one is entering into the wrong category and possibly winning above someone with maybe a little less experience. So how's tonight going to go? We're going to spend a few minutes doing a bit of random feedback and critique on some feedback and critique on one or two random images from each of the two level categories. Then I will be announcing the winners of the three £50 runner-up prizes and £500 winners from each category. So welcome, and let's get started. So first of all, I need to share my screen. Bear with me just one moment whilst I get things set up here. And here we go. So we are in the student category. So let's have a little look through some of these pictures. Please view this as an educational experience. Also remember that any feedback or critique is merely the opinion of the person giving that feedback or critique. So it's a question of how much do you value that feedback or critique from that person. It's just something to bear in mind, and there is no reason why you don't go with your own heart and your own mind. If you like it, you are the only person that matters. So our competition theme was on the move. We were looking for images which give a feeling or a sensation of someone or something going somewhere. So let's just have a little look through. Now, first thing up, let's have a look at this one from Marantoma. Of this, it's a lovely shot of an owl, no question, and it doesn't fit on the screen like that, so I'm going to have to do it small like this. I apologise. Now, it's a great shot of an owl. We're in the student category. It's beautifully exposed, it's technically perfect, you caught a great composition and a nice angle. But what I would say as feedback is, does it give me a sensation of someone or something on the move? Someone or something going somewhere? It's a great shot of an owl hovering in the air, just sort of poised, ready to dive, but we're not getting that sensation of movement, of someone or something going somewhere. And this is a thing to look out for when you are doing a competition. Let's just have a little scroll through, look at a couple more. So again, Laura Koleva, we've got a great portrait here. It's nicely sort of brought in close on those eyes with the really captivating eyes. Again, great composition. I really like the way the hair is. I like the use of colours. There's very few colours in this. But ask yourself, are you giving a sensation of someone or something on the move, of someone or something going somewhere? These are the things that you need to consider. I really like this one from Ian Stewart, because you really are giving a great sensation of people going somewhere. Look, we've got these people on that little patch of grass at the back out here, you know. If I can move it around a bit so you can see, look, you see we've got people here, we've got the tuk-tuks, people waiting to board the train. Lovely composition. I like the way the train arcs around the corner of the frame. It is giving us a feeling that someone is going to go somewhere. And again, look how simple these colours are. We've basically got green, blue and grey. Simplicity works really, really well, you know, and there are some awesome images in the student level category, which I think is absolutely great. I like this one here from Sarah, because we are getting a really great sensation of someone going somewhere, someone on the move. Great use of the camera, great use of depth of field. We've got a slightly longer focal length going on here. We've got a shallow depth of field so that our subject is standing out. Look at that happy expression. Look at the position of her arms and her body. She's going somewhere, and this is really working well. Great exposure, good composition. What more can I say? The light is nice. Look at the light on this lady's face. It's great. Look at the way her hair is caught bouncing. This is a great photograph, Sarah, and I'm sorry it didn't go further, but as I say, there was some really great entries in this student level competition. Let's just have a little scroll through, look at one or two more again. Now, this one here from Mika, Miku, apologies. Yeah, I can kind of see your thinking behind this. Someone, you know, being on the move, going somewhere or something. We've got someone bungee jumping at sunset. But I think really it needs just a little bit more sort of working on, because, you know, you've got to think about it a bit. And what we need is something that gives that across straight away. Your exposure is spot on. I really, really like that. I wonder if it may have been improved a little if we didn't have those trees across the bottom. It might just be that little bit more engaging, that little bit more interesting. If you were to take a finger and just kind of, let's just pop a finger across those trees at the bottom and maybe take a little out of the sky at the top too. Suddenly we're losing some of the clutter, and I think it brings your attention a little bit more onto the bungee jumper. Earth on the Move by Hector. Again, it's a really great shot. You know, I am really impressed with your student shots. It is a beautiful shot of, you know, a volcano erupting, of blowing stuff into the sky. It's a great shot. I can see your connection with this. Something is on the move. What more can I say? One of the things that really work about this shot is, again, look how simple it is. It is just really white and blue. Very, very few colours. These are things which really work. It is a very nicely composed shot. Look at the clouds laying across the bottom, just the position of the dust cloud coming up from the volcano. It does work as a picture. What more can I say? I'm sorry, we didn't go any further. There were some really great interpretations of On the Move. Daniel Rose. Again, it's like, what have we got here? We've got a perfect exposure. I love the way you've used a shallow depth of field to bring our attention onto the subject. And I kind of get this balance thing, you know, the fact you've got something balancing. Something for you to think about is maybe if you could have made the background a little more blurry. It's quite a nice shot, but it's not giving me that sensation of someone or something on the move, someone going somewhere, something about to happen. I've got to keep an eye on the time here because I get kind of carried away when I'm doing things. Beverly. So Beverly, I do know you of old because you're in another photography thing that I run. And again, it's a great shot. I love your lines. I like the composition and the lines running through it. What I'm not getting is that sense of someone or something on the move. But it is nonetheless a really well taken shot. I think it's great. Let's have a little scroll through a little bit further. Let's go a little bit further on. The biggest thing here is, of course, people not quite capturing something. Now, this was one which I did want to talk about because I think it's really quite interesting. Scott. You've got a great classical composition going on here, Scott. Your shape is really cool, and it does draw your eye on a circle down into the middle. So how could you have improved upon this? I don't know how you shot this, possibly with a phone, I'm not sure, but it feels to me like it's a bit, the shadows are very blocked up. It probably needed a little bit more exposure or something. But what would really have brought this to life would be if you had someone coming up those stairs, particularly if you used a slightly slower shutter speed, and then you'd have a little bit of movement blur in that person coming up the steps. That really would have been a powerful feeling of someone or something on the move. You're leading our eye on a journey to that little dot in the middle, and it's a very classic spiral. You could have improved it. It needs a little bit nicer exposure, a little bit more light in there, a little bit brighter. And if you could have added someone, I think you would have added to it immensely. There are some really, really beautifully done photos in here, no question about this. Who else? What can we do here? Marius, again, this is a really lovely shot. For a student level entry, it's a really nicely done portrait, and I can see your thinking behind this on the move. Someone with, you know, a case and sitting on a railway line. You want to be careful too. That railway line is in use, you can tell, because the tracks are shiny. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that particular thing. It's a beautifully shot portrait. The light on the girl's face is great. Her expression, the case, the bag, kind of the train tracks. I think someone going somewhere, maybe it could have been a little stronger, Marius, if you had her walking away from the camera, walking down the tracks or alongside the tracks. It's like she is going somewhere rather than waiting for something to run her over, to be quite honest with you. It's not like she's waiting for a train. She's just sitting on a railway track. It's a beautiful shot, don't get me wrong. Technically, very competent. Great light, great model, well taken. Where can we go? Let's go a little further on here. I must watch my time, so I want to go a little bit further down our list before I get too far. James Flynn. I kind of get it. Aussie icons. Yeah. A red motor, a red Hoons car, and yeah, the Qantas. So yeah, I can see what you're saying. And I think you're relying a bit too strongly on the red, the spot colour, to try and make it an engaging sort of a picture. I think you'd have been better off maybe just letting it be a natural colour. And also giving things a bit more space. You're very, very tightly cropped onto those wheels at the bottom of the car. To me, it all needs a little bit more space. Your exposure is great. I'm not sure it needed the spot colour to create that link. But, you know, great effort. And thank you so much for supporting Posipix and, of course, the Legacy of War. Catrice, same thing going on here. Now, we've got a great spiral here, and we've got a perfect exposure. Absolutely on the nail, on the money. We've got this great spiral coming down. I love the composition, the way we've got these lines running in at the front. The whole thing is drawing you off down the steps. Really nicely done, Catrice. Again, I think if you had somebody on there, somebody walking, somebody moving, or something, you know, maybe a cat or an animal or a dog, something moving on those steps, I think would just kind of absolutely bring it to life. But it is a well-composed, perfectly technically exposed shot. Let's just skim down and go a little bit further and see what we can find before we move on. Camille, I guess I can see what you're talking about. You've got a great distortion, you've got a great reflection going on here, and yeah, I get it, boats can take you somewhere. I quite like your composition. I like the way the clouds are all leading towards the boats. You're telling us what we're looking at, and yeah, I get it, we're looking at boats. I can feel that. The thing which to me is not quite strong enough in this is that sense of someone or something going somewhere. Always read the description. This is a bit of a creative challenge going on here. This is a great one, Randy. This really is someone going somewhere, isn't it? I wonder where it is. It would be so cool if you were here. This is someone going somewhere. It's that lonely feeling, isn't it? That struggle. They're climbing the rock or they're coming down the rock. I don't know which. In my mind, I'm thinking, is this in Australia? Is this Ayers Rock or Uluru, I believe is the correct name. But nonetheless, I am getting this feeling of someone or something on a journey, going somewhere. Great photograph. I'm sorry it didn't go further. We're going to just have a look at maybe one more. Here was one I just wanted to say a couple of things about. Who's this one by? Peggy L. Hey Peggy, if you're watching, I get where you're going with this. We have got a great sense of someone on the move, you know, bowling. The only thing that's getting me here a little bit is the direction of the blur. Now I know it says it's a second curtain flash. What is a second curtain flash? If you're not sure, it is you use a slightly slow shutter speed. That creates movement blur. And instead of firing the flash at the beginning of the exposure, you fire it at the end. Most cameras are set to fire at the beginning. Now what happens if you fire the flash at the start of an exposure, and let's say someone's moving forward, you get frozen from the flash, and then as they move forward they create a blur in front of them. So if you fire it at the end, you get like the movement and then the frozen, so the blur goes behind. Now I think what possibly has happened here is your bowler, you've got your rear second curtain sync flash going on, and as your bowler is bowling, they've probably taken the thing, and just as they pendulum back, they've moved backwards, which kind of makes them look like they're moving the wrong way. But nonetheless, that is a very accomplished photograph, and I really do get this sense of someone on the move. Someone is doing something, rather than it just being something that is moving. Let's just have a little look at, we're right down the bottom here. Let's have a look at this one, Christina. This is another one which I just wanted to say a couple of words about for you, because I just want to try and help you. I'm being your photo coach. Because I get you thinking, your cat is on the move. Cat's whistling up a tree, chasing squirrels and birds and just having a ball. Totally get it. The only problem here is cat is a little bit lost in the tree. Had to look at this a little bit before I went, what's going on here? And before I saw the cat, because the cat is very, very well camouflaged within the tree. But I do like your thinking. How could it be improved? Possibly, I don't know, if the cat was like a longer branch rather than climbing up. This is a really hard shot. Maybe it's one of those that just isn't quite going to work. Great idea. Trust me, all photographers, from anyone who's just beginning to those who've got Pulitzer Prizes and all the rest of it, will have ideas that don't quite work. Remember, when you are looking at a photograph published online, you are looking at the very tip of the iceberg, the very tip of the top of the iceberg. It is what you don't see is all the stuff which didn't quite work. So now let's just go take a little look at our experience level categories before we take a look and announce who our winners are. And you know, there really are some great photographs going on in these categories. Forgive me, I just need to adjust something on my other screen so that I know what's going on. I have two screens. Those of you who are used to my live broadcasts are used to me doing this. Cool. What do we got? I really liked this one, Kevin. I really do get a feeling of being on the move, of someone going somewhere or arriving somewhere. This is someone arriving somewhere. I like your composition a lot, and I like the way you have got this link between aircraft and sky, because we've got a lot of negative space here, a lot of sky going on, and that works with a shot like this of an aircraft. We've got an aircraft, people going somewhere, travel. I don't know about you, I so miss some travel in the world. And I really like the way you put this shot together, the way the pylons, the lights or whatever it is they are leading us into the runway and that aircraft coming in low. But most of all, what I think works with this is the way you've composed it. It is quite a tight composition, but allowing all that sky to be there to make that connection with an aircraft, with being able to travel, I think is a great shot. Let's just have a little look. A little bit further on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This was... Oh, this thing jumps around a little. Let me just scroll down and load a bunch in, because it does jump around a bit as it's loading in pictures. What is happening is the site is trying to find ways to organise them in a beautiful way. And it does do it, but of course as you scroll, things jump around. Now there is a particular picture I just would like to say something about, because I think it is such a stunning picture. It's this one from Dan Lior. I think everybody has got to agree this is a really powerful portrait of an alpha male gorilla. I don't know what sort it is, forgive me. The light is completely beautiful. Look at the textures, that subtle kiss of backlight kind of around, you know, the fur, the expression, the way that the composition works, just the way this gorilla is just caught between the tree trunks. Longer focal length lens with a shallower depth of field to separate him from the background. It is a beautiful, beautiful bit of wildlife photography. Dan, what is missing for me is that this guy's on the move somewhere. And that's a shame, because it is such a great photograph. Let's have a look somewhere else and see what we've got. I think we've got a great shot here too. There's something about this which kind of gives a sense of happiness. Running for Happiness, Anna Maria Philip. Technically, this is not such an easy shot, exposure-wise. Look how perfectly Anna Maria has got this exposure, because there's lots of backlight, yet there's still enough light in the front. It doesn't look like it's been overdeveloped in Lightroom or anything. It is some very, very beautiful light. I love the expression on this girl's face. I do get the sensation she's on the move, that she is actually going somewhere. But the thing that's not quite working here for me, Anna Maria, is the fact that her eyes are closed. It's like, with that expression, I think it's just you caught that moment when she was blinking. So just a little tip for everybody. And that would be, if you're going to try and shoot something like this, use burst mode. Because just a quick tap, 4 or 5 frames, and you can just capture that perfect moment when someone or something is on the move, going somewhere. But, you know, beautiful colours. I like the composition. It's a shame. I think you could probably, let's do the finger thing again. If you get your fingers out, let's just run our finger just across the bottom so that we're cropping out the socks just above the knee, because I find those socks a little distraction. I either want to see right down to the feet, or I don't want the socks there. I think taking the socks out and just cutting her off sort of mid-thigh, 3/4 length, adds a whole lot more power to it. But nonetheless, it's a great shot, Anna Maria. Thank you so much for entering it, for being part of Posipix. What else have we got in here? Let's have a look. This, Davy Dixon, I do like your shot here, because this is a great bit of pan blur. And I very much like the softness, the subtlety of it. And look at the horse's expression. Look at those ears up and forward. The horse looks like he's really enjoying himself. It is, as a technique, not necessarily an easy thing to do, because you've got to, for those, if you don't know, if you're in the student level, you're not sure, pan blur. So you've got something moving past you, and you are following it with your lens using a slightly slower shutter speed than you would use to freeze the movement, and it's just like click, click, click as they come past, and your movement will blur the background, provided you're moving at precisely the same speed as your subject. I'm guessing that, Davey, you probably did use burst mode on this one, because you've caught the perfect moment Not only are the horse and rider completely opposite you, they haven't sort of gone past. You're not sort of too early and you're not too late. You've got them right alongside, and it is a perfect moment, and there is so much sharpness in there. And just for the shot, I kind of like that slightly dreamy look of it. It's a really powerful someone or something on the move. They're on their way to win the race. That's how I see it. Again, even in our advanced category, there are quite a few shots which, to me, they're not quite saying we're on the move. Vincent sprattling here. I like it. I mean, you know, it's pin sharp. I love the little droplets of the swan, and I know what was happening here because I've watched swans do this. They kind of do this little sort of snaffly sort of in the water. So there is some movement going on, but that movement is frozen. Overall, the shot isn't quite giving us that sense of on the move, someone or something on the move. Jamie Smith, you've captured some beautiful movement here. It's a very classical movement shot of the sea. You've done it very well. You waited for the water to run away from you, and that's why you got the lines going away from you. And to my mind and many others, it always works best when the water is moving back into the sea rather than coming towards you. Great exposure. I love the fact you haven't been tempted to start oversaturating colours, because I think that can kill things. Overall, it's a great shot of movement of something or someone going somewhere. It's the ocean just sort of moving, just sort of doing its breathing, its little lifeblood thing, just rippling. But also look at the light coming along the buildings, along that pier. Look how the highlights are catching the windows. It is, to my mind, it's a really, really beautiful shot of, you know, movement blur. If you're not sure how this is done, it's a slowish shutter speed. Jamie has left the shutter open just long enough to allow the water to move. So the shutter speed has been his primary control. He's then used, I would guess, a small aperture to get the depth of field, and if the exposure wasn't correct, because when you set shutter and aperture for creative reasons you don't always get the correct exposure, that is when you use your ISO to get the creative exposure. If anyone doesn't understand these things, pop over to my website, have a look at my masterclass in photography course, because that really will take you through this stuff in depth. It's a real deep dive into it. There is a link in the description area below. So where are we now? We are at 27 minutes past. Let's look at one more, and then I think we should talk about our winners and runners up and put them out of their misery, so that they know what is going on. I'm going to talk about one here that I really, actually I'm going to talk about two. Peter Hickson. I think this is another really great movement blur shot, and when I was judging this is I scored you very high on this, but I'm sorry it didn't. There are others that ended up, the algorithm said no, you've scored those higher. I think this is a really beautifully done shot. We see a lot of ocean movement, waterfall blur type pictures. We see a lot of them, but there's something about this one to me which really captures more the feeling of the ocean on the move. It's abstract, yes, but there are just the most beautiful swirls and shapes and patterns. That horizon is nice and level. The highlights are great. You have to put a lot of work into a shot like this, because you don't always get, it doesn't just happen. You didn't just go click, oh, that's great, just because someone is an experienced photographer or a professional photographer. In fact, I have seen many hobbyist photographers take way better pictures than many so-called professionals. Professional just means you're charging money for it. It doesn't necessarily mean you're any good at it or not. But I think this is a lovely picture. I can see this on a wall. It kind of belongs there. I can really feel the movement of the ocean going on. The other one I just wanted to look at was up here, John Nesbitt. This is Korff Castle. And I can see the link you're trying to create here with, you know, someone or something on the move somewhere. We've got the mist swirling around the castle, and don't get me wrong, this is such a beautiful picture. Your light the shadows coming straight back across the mist, the way the mist is just sitting in the valley, the way it's backlighting the gorse bushes there in the foreground. Beautifully composed shot at just the right time. And again, you've treated this so sensitively. You have not gone mad trying to pimp the colours through the roof, because yeah, some sunsets are crazy mad and colourful, but most are not. And sorry, this is a sunrise. This is sunrise, not sunset. Apologies, because I know where this is. You're looking into the sun, but many get pimped beyond belief. And I think you've handled this very sensitively and very beautifully. I'm sorry it didn't go further. I just felt there were others that gave a stronger sense of someone or something on the move somewhere. But nonetheless, it is a beautiful picture. And thank you for supporting Posipix and the Legacy of War Foundation. So now I think we should just have a little look at our winners and runners up, see what's going on here. Let me just have a look, make sure I'm not missing anything on this other screen. I don't think I am. I think we're good. Yep. Right. I have to be careful at this point because I am sharing my screen with you and you can see all sorts of messy things. So first of all, what I have to do is to stop sharing my screen. I need to go to this one. Here we go. And now, let's get this one done. Forgive me, it's quite a fiddly little system to work. And so, our first runner-up in the student level category is Neil Jones. I really love this shot. I totally get this feeling of on the move. You ever watch birds in their nests and how they're continuously out getting more food for that voracious appetite of the chicks, sticking their little heads out. So I think you've really captured a great moment. It takes a lot of patience doing this sort of thing. Again, these are not usually just drive-by shootings. This is about sitting and watching and waiting. Also, I love that little bit of movement in the wings, but you've captured someone or something on the move very, very well here. The bird flying in and out, feeding the chicks, but you've also got a little hint of movement blur in the parent bird and those little chicks just with their voracious little beaks open going more, 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 more. I can imagine you being there probably for quite a long time, watching and waiting and taking many, many, many shots before getting this just right. Congratulations, Neil. You are a £50 runner-up winner. £50 winner in the student category. So our next runner-up, £50 prize winner is Stewart Anthony. I totally get a feeling from this of someone or something somewhere. Someone has hiked up a mountain and we've got such a great sense of movement, even though there isn't like physical movement blur in this shot. It is a great feeling of someone or something somewhere. There's a joy in this picture. Two people leaping off a rock at the sunset or sunrise, I'm not sure which it is, but I do think it's a great photograph. Look at the composition, look how well it's put together. Look at the position of the jumpers above the sun. We've got a smallish aperture being used here to get that sort of starburst coming from the sun. It is a very accomplished picture. Very well done indeed. I like it a lot. And congratulations. And then we have our final £50 runner-up in the student category, which is Christopher Harrison. I think it's Christopher Harrison. Forgive me, I need to check. I need to move something because I can't see it there. I'm in the wrong thing. Oh no, as usual, I'm doing it all wrong. Christopher Harrison, I was right. Forgive me, it's just chopped off on my little screen here. Again, it's another pan blur, and I love the way you've treated it so gently. The colours are not crazy. It's a light, bright picture of this girl on her bicycle. I like the way she's looking the other way, and it's got this hint of movement. I think it's quite a brave composition because, you know, they say, the rules say that, you know, you should give people space to move into. And if you're shooting at a student level, to be brave enough to sort of move it to the edge is a brave thing to do. I think it's a very accomplished picture. I'd be proud of it if it was one of my own, as I would any of these and so many others that we have seen. Great piece of pan blur. Congratulations. So that brings us on to announcing who our student category winner is, the winner of a £500 prize in this current round of the Posipix photo competition. And our winner is Mikey Bester. I may have pronounced your name incorrectly, but it is just such a strong feeling of being on the move. Yes, technically, what have we got? We've got a shot into the sun. We've got light bouncing around off the snow, helping to fill in the shadows. We've got a small aperture again, which is causing that little bit of a starburst. Now, I'm guessing you're riding on that sledge, so you have got a perfect view. But nonetheless, this has such a feeling of going somewhere, of someone or something on the move. We are really on the move. You can feel the reindeer struggling and pulling. You can feel the struggle of this guy trying to wade through knee-deep snow. I think it's a very beautiful picture, and I really do think it conveys a feeling of someone or something going somewhere, of someone being on the move. Congratulations, you have won the student level £500 prize in this current Posipix, or rather in the last Posipix competition. So now let's have a look at our more experienced photographers and see what we have got. So our first runner-up in the experienced level Posipix competition of on the move, someone or something going somewhere, is Crystal Bartholomew. I really get someone going somewhere, don't you? How can you not? Look at this little girl, look at her arm, look at the position of her feet and the flowers. She is off down that highway. She is going somewhere. It's a really nicely put together picture, Crystal. I like the fact, you know, you've got that slightly grey sky, the flat light. It's been shot with a long lens for a shallow depth of field. It is kind of separating things out, so we know where we're looking. It would probably work even if it was a bit sharp further on, but you have enhanced it perfectly. It's not too soft in the background. Very well done, beautifully done shot, and it really does convey the feeling of someone or something on the move. I think it's really powerful as well that the little girl is walking away or running away or striding away. She is on the move, and you've done it without actually bringing any intentional movement into the shot. Beautifully done. So our next £50 runner-up in the more experienced category of on the move is Joanne Loro. I love this picture. Look at the light and shade going on here and the circles and the movement. I really, really do think it's a rather beautiful picture. The backlight, the long shadows, the way we've got the repetition of circles and circles and circles, and the one cyclist cycling and the one walker walking, and then those two shadows coming in from the top of two other walkers that we can't see. It feels to me like this whole picture is kind of moving. This is someone or something on the move. And I think it's very, very well done indeed. And I'm going to give you a little bit of coaching here, Joanne, because I think if you could have captured the head and shoulders of the cyclist as well, it would be even more powerful. Just my thoughts. There's many reasons why maybe you couldn't. Maybe your lens wasn't wide enough. Maybe you couldn't get far enough back. This is a street shot. Maybe there's an ugly thing in the corner and you didn't want that in the shot. But it is a very, very accomplished photograph. So our next £50 runner-up in the experienced category is Mike Berman. I just think this is great use of light, and it's just fun. It's such a fun composition and use of light. Look at all those straight lines going on, and that straight up and down lamppost that's kind of looking at this family fooling around as they're walking along in the shade, avoiding the sun. We've got layers upon layers upon layers. We've got the layer of light. We've got the layers of the rectangles going up the wall. That sort of lamppost absolutely upright. And then this adult with some little kids all running along holding each other's t-shirts. It really is a sense of them going somewhere, doing something. They are off. They're on a journey. It's someone or something on the move to somewhere else. Congratulations, Mike. You have just won the £50, the final £50 runner-up prize, which of course brings us finally to our experience category winner in the August Posipix On The Move photo competition. And the winner for me was very definitely Davy Dixon. I really, really get this shot. The fact that there is only one person in it, and that person is so beautifully highlit on a street in that narrow piece of light, the perfect moment to shoot it. So obviously, technically, it is spot on. The composition is beautifully laid out and done. Look at those verticals. You've got this shaft of light, which must be coming through another building behind you somewhere. The sun must be low in the sky, and you've just got these long shadows. This is what you would call a stakeout. This is probably, I don't know. Unfortunately, we had a complete communication breakdown, and we did not get to announce tonight's live in the right places. Something went wrong somewhere, and it didn't get fully publicised, and I apologise for that, and it won't happen again. It would be great if you were here, Davey, because I would love to know, was this a stakeout? Did you see this beautiful pool of light? These shots very often are, of watching and waiting. You see something beautiful and think, now I need to wait for something to happen in it. Look at her stride. You know, she's just fitting perfectly in that little piece of light and beautifully highlight against that interesting repeating pattern of the building. Congratulations. I do think it is a very accomplished shot, and you are the £500 winner of the August On The Move Posipix competition. Thank you so very much for taking part, everybody, because I hope you find these feedback sessions interesting, but you're also putting a bit of good in the world. You're growing your skills, you're taking photographs, you're practicing, you're doing something, and at the same time you are putting a bit of good into the world and helping a few poor souls maybe rebuild their lives after horrors that you and I cannot imagine, or most of us cannot imagine. And so I like to try and keep these Posipix announcements just a little bit short, just keep them comfortable. I want to say thank you very much to everybody who is here tonight, and I really do apologise for the fact that the publicity for this live event didn't go out when it should have done. That is our bad, and we won't do it again. However, there is of course the replay, which anyone can come and have a look at. There's a link in the description area below. Please go and have a look. Join in the next competition. It's a very different theme. There are again 2 different category levels, and just be aware we do check the social media of winners in the advanced experienced category, because you know we're careful about that. Also, if you're an experienced photographer, think about this. If you're a student thinking, maybe I'm not good enough to do this. Nonsense, it's great practice. But also, ask yourself this question. Why would someone who's experienced want to be publicised as having won an amateur competition? They're not going to do that, are they? And we do check. So once again, I really thank everybody for supporting the Posipix competition. If you look at the Posipix Facebook page, I'm not sure I have a link in the description area here, we will rectify that. You will see a very kind letter from Giles Dooley, who is the founder of the Legacy of War Foundation, who we support, thanking us for the last month's donation. And if you want to go and have a look at that, you are very welcome. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for joining in. I really hope you support the next competition. Go have a look. It is live now. There is a link in the description area below. I wish you all a great day or a great evening or a great night, wherever you may be. Love you lots.